What was supposed to be a smooth and straightforward Git merge unexpectedly ends up resulting in a conflict message that appears on your screen during the process. So when that pops up, what do? Do you freak out in the terminal? You get worried, yet don't know what to do. But hey, calm down, calm down, calm down. I'm gonna bring you the peace of mind you need. You know that sinking feeling in your stomach, that chill down your spine you get when a merge happens and there's a conflict? The terminal spot spits right in your face, yelling, conflict, conflict. Yeah, that's how it is, right? A lot of people freeze up at that moment, and the fear of deleting what someone else did or what you did yourself, it's real and it happens. It's rare, but it happens a lot. And I'm gonna let you in on a secret right from the start. A conflict, it's not a mistake. It's GitChat's way of very politely saying it doesn't understand what's going on. Wait, your colleague edited one thing, you changed another. I don't know which one to keep. Did you both edit the same spot? Help me out here. Resolve this conflict. So be thankful that conflicts exist, that they're happening, because otherwise the mistakes in production would be huge. In this video, we're going to demystify the anatomy of a conflict. What is incoming change? What's coming? What's going? What is current change? You're going to feel more at ease. We're going to create a conflict here and resolve it in practice by the end of this video. But first, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the really interesting tech content I'm going to bring you. Before you go pressing buttons or running commands in the terminal, you need to visualize what's happening. And for that, we're going to use the notebook analogy. Imagine that this notebook has only one page. You took a copy of this notebook and your friend took another copy of the same notebook. In your version of the notebook, you go to line 10 and write, "The button is blue." Your friend is also going to write on line 10, specifying that the button is red, just like you did. When you both try to merge these two changes that were made on the same line of the notebook, the system's going to tell you, I don't know which line should be added in the end. And what's your job? To tell Git, look, it's this one right here. Or to make a new version where the button is both blue and red simultaneously in appearance. That's a conflict. There are two versions of the same story competing for the same physical space. Now, let's get hands-on. Come with me to the code. This is a very simple project. It's going to simulate some calculator functions and utilities that you would use in a typical project. Let's take a look at what's in this project. So, Git branch. We have 3 branches here, okay? The master branch, which is the default for your project. We have statistical analysis and also advanced operations. I was specifically working on statistical analysis. And my colleague, he was working on advanced operations. Well, let's simulate what would more or less happen in reality. Someone would open a PR first and merge their feature into production. So simulating here, I'll go to the master branch, and just to be sure, I'll check out the master branch, clear the terminal for better clarity and organization, and then pull the branch names again to make sure everything is up to date. Now, at this point, I'm going to carefully merge my statistical analysis branch into my master branch. I'll use the git merge command, feature statistical analysis. Remember that the merge always happens on the branch you're currently on, so always double check before proceeding. Think of it as bringing features from somewhere else into where you are right now. That's why I switched to master, and let's hit enter. Alright, the merge went through without any issues, because it didn't have any conflicts with the master branch. But now let's see what happens if I try to merge the other feature where I changed the same part. Merge feature option. Advanced operations. And now I'll go ahead and hit enter. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The feature that was introduced later on ended up causing a conflict, and Git is so incredibly smart that it'll actually tell us exactly where that conflict is located. Auto-merging. In the calculator file, it tried to do the automatic merge process and couldn't complete it successfully. So it gave a conflict in the contents of the calculator file. So the automatic merge failed because of that. Fix these conflicts and then commit the result. Here we can see that the IDE has already updated because Git is trying to modify this file to do the merge, and it couldn't, so it added some weird symbols to the file. What is this head that I didn't put there? Here, Git is telling you which part of the file had the conflict. Everything below this head up to the equal sign, which we'll find in a second, right here, That's my code, what I had in my branch that I was just on, which was master. So this was the code that was on master. It's the code from head. And if we scroll down further from the equal sign to this operator here, which will indicate which branch these changes came from, those are the modifications that came from the other branch. So here I have two codes, clearly separated. What's above the equal sign under head, which is my code, the one that was on master, and what's below the equal sign, which is the code that came in with the merge. We call them by two names. One is current changes, which are the changes you currently have, and the other is incoming changes, which are the changes that are coming in. You can resolve the conflict in two ways. One, you can manually edit the file right here in your editor. Just carefully delete or remove the version that you think does not fit, and that's it. The conflict is then resolved. Just leave it. File and continue the merge in the terminal. Or you can use an IDE to help you when it's a bigger conflict. I'll even hit Ctrl-Z here. Let's click on this Resolve Conflicts that IntelliJ already provides for us. VS Code also provides this, okay? And here, it'll ask change by change, block by block, what I want to keep or not. So let's go. These are the imports. They're important. It'll say they're not being used, but that's because at this point, it doesn't have the rest of the code yet, so that's normal. Keep the basic operations. Keep the line break, which is important. And notice that as I resolve these identical changes that were in both files, it already resolves the conflict here, okay? And now the dreaded red part, right? This is what's causing the conflict in the file. We can go ahead and manipulate it here, see? Of course, this is just a simulation of what happens in the real world, but let's simulate how to resolve it. You're gonna have a few options, and you'll have to analyze it function by function. So here, for multiplication, arithmetic operations with doubles. It's very important that you read and understand the code that has the conflict, so you don't make any wrong decisions. So this multiply function, we have it here in both. Apparently, they implemented different overloads of the same method. This one accepts doubles and this one accepts integers. This one seems to be a simpler function. And this one seems to be a function that logs the operation, besides returning a double, which is a floating point number. So I already know that I'll have to accept both blocks. So let's go. And when I press this other button, it'll add the block below this one. Done. Theoretically, we've resolved the conflict, but now we have to clean up the file. Personally, I like to do this on the same screen, so the IDE already knows you've resolved the conflict, instead of accepting it here and fixing it later. So I know this multiplication function is similar to the one above, so I'll keep both of them together right here below. Done. And now I have two overloads of the same method with different functions. This other function divides, we see that it's in both, and it seems to follow the same logic. One overload for integers and another overload for floating point numbers. So let's do the same thing. Keep both functions together. This will make it easier to read, that is, more legible, and also easier to maintain the file. The sum function. I have it both on my left side and on my right side, meaning both what I had in master and what came from advanced operations. This one operates on a list of doubles, and this one operates on a list of ins. Let's just put them together as well. Cut one function from here, paste it below the other one. Let's move on to the next one. Average, the mean, we have it on the left side and on the right side. Same thing here. Let's copy it here and paste it right below this one. It already existed. The next function is for median, and notice that it doesn't exist in the file on the right. It came from what already existed in the master branch. So this function didn't necessarily cause a conflict. We're gonna keep it because it was already in the project. The same goes for the standard deviation, square root, log operation, and factorial functions. This factorial one came from the advanced operations, but it didn't exist in the master branch. That's why it's important for you to go through each function that had a conflict. The power function is present in both branches. I put this here to see if you were paying attention. Here, the power function works with doubles. And here, the power function works with integers. So we're gonna take both and combine them to make it easier to find and maintain later. And after all this mess that we sorted out, finally our file is ready, so we can say we've resolved the conflict. So let's click apply. Our IDE will already understand that we've resolved it. it won't show us any errors anymore. And after all that, we're going to come here to our terminal and type git merge continue. And hit R. Oh, it gave an error here. Let's analyze what this error is. You haven't completed your merge. The merge head still exists. Please commit all of your changes before you merge. So we might have resolved the conflict in the file, but we still actually have to commit the changes to ensure that everything is properly saved. To truly resolve the conflict, you can do it in the terminal or in the IDE. I'm going to do it in the IDE since the goal of this lesson isn't specifically to teach how to commit. So I committed. Now let's try to run the git merge continue command once more together. Merge continue, not something we can merge. What does this mean? Our merge is already done, it's already resolved, and it understood that what it needed to complete the merge was already given to it, which was the next commit. But there was a conflict, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna resolve it either in the file or directly in the IDE. Once you've resolved the conflict and the file is all set, you'll add it to your staging area. After adding it, you'll commit. And after you commit, if there are no more conflicts, the merge will be completed successfully. And now, here's a golden tip for you, okay? We went through them one by one because they were simple features. They were functions that were easy to analyze. So you can replicate this in a real-world scenario, but many times you won't even have the context of the function that's coming in. Sometimes it's from a completely different feature than the one you're working on. So what are you going to do in that moment? You're going to use your soft skills. You're going to call your colleague who's working on that other part, and you're going to communicate with them so you can reach the final file together. So you don't necessarily have to resolve a conflict entirely on your own. If you always think that you have to solve the conflict completely by yourself, you might actually end up causing a bug in the process. So be humble, call your colleague, because together you'll get an even better result. So to sum up the golden tip, don't guess. Only do what you're sure about. The worst thing you can do is delete someone else's code just because you thought yours was better or that you were right. Most conflicts are resolved either on Slack or Teams, and not necessarily in the code. Here, I tried to demystify a bit for you what a commit merge really is and what its steps are. From the moment the conflict is generated to actually resolving it in the file, and finally the commit that will fix it. I hope everything was clear. And if you liked it and it makes sense for your daily work, this course, Mastering Git, is being made for you. In it, we'll go from absolute zero all the way to advanced strategies used by major companies. And believe me, if you want to stand out and earn the trust of a mid-level developer, and especially a senior, you need to master Git. Because when something really serious happens that no one else can solve, they're going to call you. I'm putting a lot of care and attention into making this course. So if you want to be the first to know when it's released, click the first link in the description and join the waitlist. Plus, I'm gonna give you a special launch discount for making it this far. And to wrap up, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. That really supports the channel and motivates me to keep making content for you. I think demystifying merge deserves a like, right? See you next time.